Hello everybody. In this video, this is going to be a video of what I think is the top 10 best pop-up jumping jump scare props that Spirit Halloween has sold. Now this time, unlike the last time I did the top 20 my top 20, technically top 34 Techie Toys props, and I counted my most favorites to my least favorites. Well, they were all my favorites, but like this one is going to be the worst ones, or I mean, these are all going to be the top 10 jumping ones. The number one is being the best, obviously. So yeah, let's get started. Number 10 on my list is Rosemary. Reason she's number 10 is because she takes way too long to do her jump scare lurching animation. People are long gone by that time. Like, people are long gone by the time her eyes are even lit up. So people don't even see her lunge, so therefore they don't even get scared by her. And even the people that have stuck around, they didn't get too scared by her lurching. So she's not the greatest jump scare prop. Lurching Zombie is the same. People are long gone by the time he jumps as well. And it doesn't scare as many people either. As a matter of fact, I think Lurching Zombie actually does scare more people when people do see him lurch than Rosemary does. But it's a tie between those two. Number 9 on the list is Lunging Pumpkin Carver. Though she scares people and she's very fast at lunging, once again, people walk away normally before she lunges because, well, when they're in the store, they step on the step pad and she talks, but she doesn't have a moving mouth, so people don't think she's doing anything, so they continue to step on the pad and they just walk away from it. Even when it's at max volume, they still can't hear it, and if they do, they probably think it's something else talking. But if people do stick around, they sure do get scared by her or startled. But otherwise, she's also not the greatest to use since she takes so long.
Look at my cute pumpkin. I carved him just for you. Now, I'm gonna carve you.
Number 8 on the list I believe would be the Reaching Arm Tombstone. Now, surprisingly, this does startle a lot of people, especially when it's close up. But if you're using this in the graveyard, you're most likely going to put it further back. And the problem with this one is that it's not higher on the list, or because it's only sound activated. It does not have a motion or infrared sensor, so therefore, unless you make a loud sound, it's not going to set off. People are going to walk right by it, and it's not going to do anything. But if it did have a motion sensor, it would immediately strike and scare the hell out of people. The one I set up this year was just on the floor, and trust me, it did startle people pretty well. It was a really good one. But again, for the reason that it doesn't have an infrared sensor, I mean, I guess that's what a step pad is for, but using step pads is too obvious because you know something's going to happen unless you cover it up. Or if you have it too close, you can actually, since it's not that huge, you can actually see the arm behind the tombstone if it's that close. So, but the cool thing about this one is that you don't have to use the tombstone with it. That's an option. The tombstone just connects to the metal bracket. You can hide it behind something else, so therefore that makes it a little bit better. But again, since it's not infrared or motion activated, like I said, a lot of the time people are going to walk by it if you're using a graveyard and it's not going to do anything. So unless you have it in a room where or a person's really loud and you find a way where people won't see the arm behind it, it's not going to scare anybody.
I am coming to bring you back with me down to the cold grave.
I do like how the arm goes back behind the tombstone, though. That's pretty funny. Number 7 on the list would be Dead Humor or the Rising from the Grave series. These ones do not scare people that very well. I've seen these when they were. I remember I've worked at Spirit for a long time, and not a lot of people got scared by these. If any of them are scary, it's the clown, because a lot of people have a fear of clowns, so that one definitely will do the job better than the other Rising from the Grave characters. But the top 3 would be the corpse, the one of the original ones that I talked about in one of the other videos, the Reaper with the blue light up face, because like I said, those ones are the tallest. They're almost 4 feet. So when they jump up, they're pretty tall, and they're the quickest too, besides the small ones. But like I said, Dead Humor would probably be the scariest out of all the Rising from the Graves, because like I said, most people have a fear of clowns, so he'll do the job better than the others. But that is why he is number 7 on the list, like I said, because he lays down and jumps up, and due to that, the jump pop-up is kind of slow, and it doesn't startle as many people as you think. And, over time, the springs get weaker, so as time goes on, they start popping up a lot slower, which makes it less creepy. Six on the list, I believe, is Sitting Scarecrow. He is actually a good scare. He does startle people actually really well. Really well, actually. I think he's actually I think he scares people a little bit more than the clown, surprisingly, because well, the clown is expected to do something. You know, clowns are pretty twisted and they're gonna do something. But scarecrows, I mean, he looks so fake. And actually, depending if you're using him on Halloween Day and set him on by the door like he is in this video, people think he's an actual dressed up person or just a dummy with a costume on it. But when they stick their hand in the bowl, they're in for a surprise because both the motion and sound sensor is in the candy bowl. So if it's too dark for the motion sensor to pick up the hand going into the bowl, the sound sensor is going to hear the sound of the taking candy from the bowl, and that's going to set it off. You can also remove the candy bowl if you want to use them in a different way. Set them on top of a hay bale or something, hide a step pad, and when you're walking along a trail, that'll scare people too. You can do the same with the clown too. They're equally as scary, but like I said, I think the scarecrow scares people a little bit more. By the way, this is the 2016 model. The 2017 model they changed a bit. He has actual eyes, like eye moldings in his face. The remake one, the 2017 one, they were just painted eyes. Like, it didn't even have the molding. So they do have a little bit of a different look. But what I'm saying is the 2016 one looks actually more evil, or it looks scarier, because the 2017 one looks a lot cheesier and it has like big black painted circle eyes. Whereas this one, you can actually see the eye moldings. I've noticed that because someone returned a 2016 one this year and I got to see the difference. Okay, number 5 on my list is the Moonshine Zombie Barrel. And Chester the Jester, they're the exact same mechanism, so I just count them as both. You can either choose between a clown or the zombie barrel. The zombie is hidden better than the clown, but either way, you don't really expect them to jump out. Well, the clown you don't, so therefore I think the clown actually might be a little scarier than the barrel, because you can kind of see them through the hole and you expect something to come out of a barrel these days when they make a Halloween jumping prop. But still, there's some people who don't expect anything to happen. Um, this is number 5, and the only flaw with him is that when you pass him, he does have a 2-second delay. The lights come on first and shine for 2 seconds, and then he pops up, which if people are just walking, they just might miss him pop up. But usually these pop-up mechanisms are always noisy. You can't make a pop-up mechanism quiet. So the pop-up, so even if someone walks past it for 2 seconds, they're gonna hear it pop up and they're gonna look, and even that might startle them. But a lot of times people will look just to see if something's gonna happen, and he will pop up and it'll scare the hell out of people. I've seen him scare quite a few people. And this one is sound and motion activated, so this one will, and like I said, you can use a step pad, so you can hide that somewhere as well. So that's why he's one of the better ones to get if you want a jump scare prop. And him just alone as a static prop is cool enough, but him popping up and being an animatronic is even better. Like, I love the detail of this animatronic. And here is Chester the Jester. Like I said, I think this one would scare people a little bit better than the um, zombie barrel, because like I said, the zombie barrel, you can kind of expect something to happen. You can see him just sitting in there. Whereas this clown, he's already slightly popped out, and it looks like he's just a static prop sitting on top of a toy box. But, like I said, guests are in for a surprise when they pass this clown. I really wish that this wasn't an online only and that they would have actually brought this to stores in 2014, because originally him and Moonshine Barrel were supposed to be at Spirit in 2014. We got the price tags for them, but they were canceled and released in 2015. He was online only. The Moonshine Zombie Barrel was in stores, but it would have worked out much better as a 2014 prop. And I know damn good and well he would have been in the attic scene.
One more time.
By the way, to be honest, I think we honestly could switch places with the Rising from the Grave slash Dead Humor with the Reaching Arm Tombstone because, like I said, the Reaching Arm Tombstone actually does scare people when it actually sets off directly in front of someone, whereas Dead Humor and the Rising from the Grave, not as much. And the small Rising from the Grave Reaper, Vampire, and Zombie, those don't scare anyone, especially when it's dark because you can't even see them because don't have any lights. Whereas, like I said, the Reaper, his whole face lights up blue, so you can see that coming towards you. So that does scare you. And like I said, the Clown, the Corpse, and the Reaper are definitely the best for that series. The Ghoul, he's too small, I think. But like I said, I think I'm switching spots with those because I think the Reaching Arm Tombstone scares people a little bit better than the Rising from the Grave series does. Number 4 is the pop-up zombie. This guy scares everyone. Like I said, because since the pop-up on these mechanisms are so loud, that by itself scares people. But the ballistic movement that this has just does the job as well. So there's two parts in these pop-up things. There's people that are always like, man, I wish it wasn't so loud when they popped up because that ruins it. But let me tell you that that's actually what scares people more. That adds to the effect. It's scary enough when they pop up, but when they make a loud sound while they pop up, that scares people more. Trust me. That's what actually startles me more than the pop up is the sound, how loud it is when it pops up. Because, like I said, it's so fast and ballistic that it pops up before you can even blink. And like I said, pop-up werewolf is not as good because, like I said, he never works. And literally, um, I'm sorry. Sorry, I zoned out there for a second. Um, I'm sorry, I zoned out again. Sorry. Yeah, like I said, the wall for the pop-up werewolf is too tall because it covers his mouth pretty much. Like all you can see is his eyes and ears. Like I said, you can easily change that and just put something underneath the werewolf to give him a little bit more height. But as I said, it he never works. The pop-up zombie works better than the werewolf. I've seen a lot, like I said, I tried 3 werewolves and they all failed. All the pop-up zombies I tried, they all worked. So yeah. Now, in my opinion, I don't know which pop-up zombie is better, the 2013 one, the 2012 one, or the 2014 one. The 2013 one is the most gruesome looking. So I feel like that one would be the creepiest, but I'm not sure. This is open for opinions, though. I guess this is a personal opinion. Oh, also, same problem with pop-up zombie is that it is only sound activated, so a lot of the time, if you're using it in a graveyard and it's not too noisy, people are going to walk right by it and it's not going to do anything. So it has to be kind of loud for it to trip off, or like I said, you have to hide a step pad somewhere, so that makes it a little bad. Same with the Rising from the Graves. Dead Humor, my Dead Humor is not that sensitive to sound. So when I was using it in my tunnel, it barely even went. Like you literally have to almost kick it to make it go. So that is why those are not on the low list. Those are on the higher list where they're not as good. We're getting to the top best ones though now. Number 3 is the coat rack monster. This is a very good prop for pranks because a lot of the time you can use this in your house, and if you're planning to scare someone, they won't even recognize it. Like it'll just blend in with something else that you have. Like that one guy that used it for a prank for pizza deliveries. They had no idea what was going to happen. They thought it was actually an actual coat rack. So this prop is great, and trust me, in 2014 this didn't really scare people. And like I said, this is one of the more faulty props. So you got to be careful with it and take good care of it to make it last, because a lot of them had an issue where their head didn't pop up all the way so you couldn't even see the face, or the hat was too far forward so it covered the face, or the relay switch wouldn't get hit so the head kept popping up non-stop so it was out of synchronization. So sometimes it would stop when the head's already up, and eventually a pole ends up snapping. But, and that's sadly that happened to the one we had in our hotel last year. We had a leftover, and while it did work, when it did work, it scared a shit ton of people. Like you could hear people scream. So this one is a good one when it works. Uh, so this is one of the top best ones, though definitely.
Hope you got.
Dang, I think I broke your toy, man. My bad, yo. You can't just be like messing with black folk like that.
Now, I'm not exactly sure what he used to trigger the prop because I don't think it was on sensor, because it obviously would have activated as the guy walked up to the door. So he had to he must have modified it somehow with a much better try me button with like, because I didn't see no cords coming out of the back either for like a foot pad or a try me button. So he must have made some type of modification to make it better. But whatever it is, you get the point. You see how good of a prop that is to prank people with.
Come over here.
Okay, number 2 on my list is lunging lilly. Now this has a one thing in common that many others have, whereas yes, it takes a while to jump up, but um, the mouth moves, so it keeps people waiting, and the eyes glow, so people keep watching because, you know, a lot of people know that something else is probably going to happen. And trust me, this one gets a lot of people as well. Some people have screamed very loud in 2014 when we had this set up. Now, actually, the 2014 one has a lot of blood on its chin, whereas the 2015 model doesn't really. Number 1 on the list, and that is Peekaboo Penny. Just wait, I have an honorable mention. But Peekaboo Penny, I think, is number 1 because every person that has seen it popped up twitched at least a little. Like the other people that are hard to scare, the other ones aren't gonna really scare them as much. But Peekaboo Penny, that startles everyone. Once again, she pops up faster than Pop-Up Zombie because this time, unlike a whole body popping up, it's only a head, which is much lighter weight, and it pops up much faster. And so when it pops up, it actually makes a louder bane sound, like I said, which is what also startles people. So let me give you some examples.
Trick or treat, smell my feet. Uh-oh.
Now you're probably thinking, wait, but she also takes too long to pop her head up. People might actually walk past her as well. Yeah, you're right. That is a true statement. But still, sometimes if people can hear her whispering and they'll keep watching. If they know it's coming from her, they'll keep watching. They don't expect the head to pop up, actually. They expect the hands to come down. That's why it scares people so much, because they don't expect it to do that. And guys, I'm telling you, it's not even the fast pop-up that scares people half the time. Half the time it's the loud bane sound they make when they pop up. See, because watch some examples here. And also, Peekaboo Penny is both motion and sound activated, so she actually activates a lot easier than Pop-Up Zombie. So, like, see how close people put their face to her hands because they don't, like I said, they don't expect the head to pop up. They expect the hands to come down. Yeah, you see, right there was a perfect example. She didn't even see the head pop up, and she got scared because of the loud bane sound it made. And here's the lunging lily scare. And a lunging lily scare.
What? Did you get that on there? I just scared the crap out of him.
Oh my god.
Just watch it. Watch it. Watch it.
You know, that scream sounded like the scream girls make when they're going down, like on a when they're going down vertically on a roller coaster. Like every time a roller coaster goes down when you're at like a fair or an amusement park, that's exactly the scream you hear from. But as you can see, that's why those are the top three: the coat rack, lunging lily, and Peekaboo Penny. Is because, well, and Peekaboo Penny being number one is because she does scare everyone. Now, you're probably thinking, wait, jumping spider, you idiot. Well, isn't it nice to do a top 10 without including jumping spider for once? However, the honorable mention is jumping spider slash attack spider. They're both equally as good, depending on what you want to use. If you want a spider to just shoot out at people's feet, or if you want a jumping spider, they're both just as good. The attack spider is faster, so it scares people just as well, if not a little bit better than jumping spider. I mean, jumping spider 2011 and 2012 were the fastest ones made, but 2015 and or I mean 2016 and 17, their springs have been so weak. They're not the same anymore. They don't jump as fast as they used to. They're made with much less quality. They jump so much slower. So they're not as good anymore as they used to be. But if you want a good jumping spider, I recommend you to go find a 2012, 2013, or basically 2011 through 2015 is going to be a good one for you. But it's almost impossible to find a 2011 model. Those ones were the fastest. But if you can't, at least look for a 2012. The only problem with the 2012 ones is that most of them were factory defected or a factory error where they were sewed onto the module crooked. Jumping Zombie is just as good too, but he wasn't produced for very long. And like I said, it's exactly the same as the jumping spider. Jumping zombie gets the same reaction, same effect. But like I said, the jumping spider is probably better than the jumping zombie. So we're just leaving the jumping zombie out because basically they're all just copies of the jumping spider. The attack spider is actually unique as well because it's the only one that actually shoots out like that. And here are some videos of people getting scared by the jumping spider. This is a 2011 jumping spider, and as I show you these different jumping spider scares, you'll see that the 2011 one definitely is the fastest one. I mean, that wasn't a scare, but hey, like I said, if it was Peekaboo Penny, I'm pretty sure that that girl would have gotten scared because, I don't know, like I said, so not everyone gets scared of the jumping spider. That's why I put Peekaboo Penny as number one. The funny thing about the 2011 one is that it pops up before the soundtrack starts, and that's what scared people so much, is because it caught people off guard, whereas later models, they jump at the same time as the sound starts. This is a 2015-2016 model, and you can see how much slower it is compared to the other videos that I've just showed you. It still manages to scare people, but trust me, nowhere near as well as the old ones did when they were faster. But look at how weak that is. That's just pathetic. The jumping spiders are getting pathetic. If they're going to make them that slow, I honestly think that they should just continue them because they need to start making them fast like they used to be. Lunging Lily is way heavier than the jumping spider, and she jumps faster than that. The jumping spider is so lightweighted, that just shows how weak of springs they're using. Did I not mention that the springs break much faster on these models than the old ones did? I've actually never seen a 2011 model jumping spider have a broken spring, but I've seen plenty of 2016 and 15 models that have, as well as 2014 through 2015. And that just shows how weak the springs really are. 2012, they lasted 2 whole seasons of nonstop use at the stores. These spiders barely make it through 1 season anymore. That's how bad they've gotten.
Techie, go look over there.
Oh, look. Whenever she stands up straight in her belly, she's gonna pooch up.
Yeah, if that was a 2015, or I mean 2016 or 27, the 2015 models were still fast. If that was a 2016 or 17 model, there's no way it would have had enough strength to jump out of a garbage can. This is a 2012 model, as you can tell, because of how crooked it is. Now here is the attack spider. There's not too much footage of people getting scared of this, but then again, they didn't put it in a good spot. Like it was supposed to be on top of the clock tower, which that was a dumb place to put it because it scares people when it goes towards their legs, not in the sky. Like literally. If they would have put it somewhere else, it would have been a more popular prop, and it probably would have came back for 2017. But because they put it in such a horrible spot, it was only sold 1 season. But it was, like I said, this is, if you want a really good jumping spider to this present day, I would recommend this one because the jumping spiders these days aren't very good unless you find an old one on eBay, which you probably can. You can tell by the box style. If it has the green slime writing jumping spider, it's a fast one. But if it has the white writing, it's the bad slow one. So there is ways you can tell. Anyways, here we go. There is one funny moment that I so wish that I would have captured on camera. There was a group of 3 teenage girls that walked up to the attack spider. They stepped on the step pad and it did absolutely nothing, and they still jumped because they realized it was going to do something. But when they stepped on it again and it did jump, I heard the loudest scream I've ever heard in my life. And like I said, jumping snake, jumping dog, jumping rat, jumping bug, I don't count them because they're all the same thing as jumping spider. They're not a unique idea as much. Jumping spider is original, but if I had to say what one I think is better, I would say the snake because there's a lot of people who can't stand snakes either. And then after that would be jumping dog, and then it would be jumping bug, and then it would be jumping cat. Honestly, I think jumping rat is probably the least popular or less scary one out of all the jumping props.
seen this one. This is the one that got the broken screen with the high-pitched sound. Yeah.
Now, what I'm going to do is actually something interesting that most top 10s don't do. Well, this is going to be counting up the top 10 not as scary props. Like, I just did the top 10 plus the jumping spider, which was, everyone knows the jumping spider is going to scare people. Some people it is, some people it's not. But it was an honorable mention because everyone knows about the jumping spider. And I'm pretty sure at one point everyone has gotten scared of the jumping spider. Anyways, this is going to be ones that are still good, but it's going to go up to ones that are completely horrible, like the worst one. It's going to start at 11 being okay. Number 20 is going to be the absolute worst one, and trust me, you will agree with me. Anyways, here we go. Cryo Chamber Corpse. Now this one you might be thinking, oh, this one's not that fast. This one's not that good. Honestly, I saw it scare quite a few people this year. I guess the one that we had on display at our store pops up faster than a lot of the ones I've seen as well. It popped up really fast. And like I said, this one doesn't take forever to pop up. And this has one of those good sensors that can actually detect up to 8 feet away. So it's not going to be it's not going to be so difficult to activate this animatronic. This one, and like I said, it doesn't take forever to pop up. So this is one that is actually quite a good scare. However, a lot of them are kind of slow, so not all of them are going to scare people. But the one that was on display at our store, it did its job pretty good. Oh shit. Sorry about that, guys. Again? See, that one was pretty fast, so that one did scare a lot of people. But then again, but like I said, most of them aren't that fast, so therefore it's not always the greatest. Number 12 is the lurching vampire. Now, don't get me wrong. This is a great animatronic and it probably does scare a lot of people, but I know this is one that wouldn't scare everyone. I mean, this one does do a good job at scaring people. Like when the eyes and mouth open, that's surprising enough, but then when it lurches at you, that's even more surprising. But like I said, I don't think it scares everyone. It's kind of along the rising from. To be honest, it probably is more scares people a little bit better than the rising from the graves. But to be honest, if I think I would actually switch spots with the rising from the grave and lurching vampire. But either way, that's what I think. Lurching reaper too. Lurching reaper is the same thing. As a matter of fact, I almost think that the lurching reaper would scare people a little bit more than the vampire because he's like just a black cloak, and then all of a sudden you see eyes start to glow and it comes towards you very quickly. So I think actually I like the lurching vampire more, but I think that the lurching reaper actually scares people more. This is the lurching reaper that I'm talking about. What the And guys, my apologies. I meant to put lurching vampire at number 13, not 12. Here's what I think is actually number 12. And you might not agree with me, but this is what I think. So, number 12, I think, would be Forrest Demon. Once again, you guys probably are not going to agree with me, but reason being is unlike other animatronics, he pops up instantly instead of a couple second delay or, a lot of props talk first and then pop up. He talks up and pops up and then does his speech. And the problem with this one is that a lot of them tend to pop up slow just because of the wings are too heavy. But if you get lucky, you could get a really fast one like the one that I got, our store display, that actually pops up really fast. And the mouth moves really great on mine, which most don't move too great. The really good thing about it is that the sensor is another one of those sensors that detect up to 8 feet away. So this one, there's not as much of an issue with activating. Whereas, like I said, Lurching Vampire, I mean, I think Forest Demon is way scarier than Lurching Vampire. Like, he's way more intimidating. He's taller. He's almost 7 feet, guys. Seriously, he's tall as hell.
The sorrows of the innocent are hard to come by. With the
And he, like, pops up over you. Like, he looks down at you when he pops up. Like, his mechanism is so different. A lot of the times, if he pops up slow, like you said, it's either because the wings, or more of the time, the springs are stretched out too much. But seriously, him popping up and then his eyes piercing down right at you is very intimidating. This is one intimidating prop, so this is one of the good ones. I honestly wanted to put this closer to the number 1, but the other ones I think that I chose are much scarier. But as I said, I would almost replace the Rising from the Grave with this animatronic instead. Like I said, I meant to put lurching vampire down as number 12, but to be honest, I think I'm going to switch places again because I think lurching vampire should go in Rosemary's spot because lurching vampire does lurch instantly. Rosemary takes forever, so she doesn't scare people because everyone walks away. So therefore, Rosemary goes after cryo chamber. And even when people do see Rosemary lurch, like I said, I've never really seen people jump. But Forest Demon, I'm gonna, like I said, I'm gonna switch places with Rising from the Grave. I think now that Forest Demon should actually be, what did I say, number 7? It was, I believe, or it was number 7. So that's where I'm gonna place Forest Demon at.
By with the souls of the broken like you are everywhere.
Because like I said, I've seen more people jump when at Forest Demon than Dead Humor even, so I'm changing that spot. This is how bad they pop up when they have bad sprains.
The souls of the innocent are hard to come by, but the souls of the broken like you are everywhere.
But if you have one with good sprains, this is how fast that it will pop up.
It works.
Great-great-grandfather almost killed. The broken like you.
This one has not even been extended all the way. The posts were short this whole season.
I have some advice for you. If you get Forest Demon and it has weak sprains so it doesn't pop up fast, just remove the wings and it will pop up fast because trust me, the wings add a lot of weight to the item. Like this one pops up extremely fast. If I were to remove the wings on this one, it would pop up so much faster to the point that it would probably break. Which that's not a good thing, but if the sprains are too weak to pop it up with the wings, just remove the wings. Number 14, in my opinion, would be Haining Hellfiend. Now, don't get me wrong, he's another great prop, and I'm sure he does make a good scare. But you have to hang him a certain way, otherwise it's gonna break if you don't. Where they had him displayed at Spirit in 2017 on top of the bridge looked cool, but I don't think it was a good spot for it to be able to scare people. I think it was too high.
What a mouth-watering aroma! You smell like fear, and I exist for fear.
Now, Haining Hellfiend, he probably has like the best mouth movement any animated item has. Like it has one of the best mouth movements out of all the spirit props in a long time. I mean, this video it doesn't, but trust me, the ones that all the others I've seen, this is just the demo videos, so, but all the other videos, they move so much more than that. Now, he can lunge like this, however, this is a warning, he will break very quickly if you have him lunge like this. His hands must be mounted to the wall if you do not want him to break, which he scares people way better this way, trust me, because it looks like he's coming right towards you, like his hands and everything. But, like I said, if you don't mount his hands, he's eventually going to break, which is what ended happening to ours at the store. With just his head lunging at you, it isn't as scary, but when his whole body lunges at you, it's so much cooler. But, like I said, you're not really supposed to use him that way, and that is why he is one of the not as good lunging props to scare people. Sorry.
What a mouth-watering aroma! You smell like fear, and I exist for fear.
Like I said, it scares people a lot better when you have them lunge like that, but like I said, it's gonna break if you have it lunging like that. Because eventually the gears will wear out and they'll just start clicking, and it won't be able to bring it back up. It will also make the chain that holds his head from looking down at the floor snap, so when it does that, then it's not even repairable at that point. So all in all, he is a great prop, but he's not a very good one to scare people because, well, like I said, you have to mount him a specific way. His hands have to be mounted just like this. You can't have his hands mounted above or with his shoulders because he won't lunge at all then. They have to be low like this, and you have to mount them to the wall or something like this. Because like I said, if you don't, he won't lunge at all.
You smell like fear, and I exist for fear.
Number 15 on my list is Deadly Roots. He is cool, and he could scare people, but not too well. Not really, unless you're a really unless you're a really easy person to scare. I mean, I've seen some people kind of jump, but not really. So that's why he's one of the not so good ones. Um, but he is faulty as hell. Like, these actually do have a problem where a component on the board overheats and it kills the whole thing. Basically, it could start smoking it or catch a fire. What happens is first its mouth stops moving, and eventually it'll just kill itself completely if you don't even try to fix the mouth. Because at first the motor will just die, but if you leave it like that, it'll kill the sequence in the board, and then the component will overheat and it'll kill the whole thing, and you can smell a burning smell in it. We went through 3 of them at our store.
I'm the tree that bears forbidden fruit. One bite of me, and your soul is mine.
The prototype one was actually much better because its arms go out so far to the point where it looks like it's gonna grab you. This is the
These are
prototype.
private. The longer you linger here, the shorter your life will become. Now get out before you become permanently rooted here.
It's actually a quite startling prop when they work just like this, and you're close up to it.
These ones are private. The longer you linger here, the shorter your life will become. Now get out before you become permanently rooted here.
You don't want to forget the screws on the arms that go into the module. They matter. It's a lot of weight.
I have no magical powers. Just the strength of a 1,000-year-old tree that I can crush an acorn as easily as I can crush your skull. Private, the longer you linger here, the shorter your life will become. Now get out as easily as I can crush your skull. I have no magical powers. Just the strength of a 1,000-year-old tree that I can crush an acorn as easily as I can crush. I'm the tree that bears forbidden fruit. One bite of me, and your soul is mine.
So, I believe we're at number 15 now, right? Well, number 15 is a combination of four. The seasonal vision lurching animatronics. They're basically almost all built the same. Now, the reason these are number 15 is because, again, they take way too long to do their lurching. Like, especially the zombie. The zombie's the worst one out of all. Because his head turns first, and then he takes 10 more seconds. He just sits there moving his mouth, and then he doesn't move at all for another 5 seconds. And then people are long gone at that point. And the people who do stay, they do get slightly startled if it's close to you. And you have to have his arms posed a certain way to make it really scare someone. Like if you have it posed exactly like it is here, it will scare someone. You can put it on the continuous mode and you'll have a better chance of it lurching right at someone as someone walks up to it. But it does have the infrared sensor that detects up to 8 feet away. But like I said, if someone is just walking up to it and it just starts, they're going to walk away from it way before it lurches, because it takes about 20 seconds before it lurches. So that's the problem. Because you see, when you have their arm post like this or even lower, the metal wire is bendable for that arm. If you have it posed higher, it goes too high up above a person's head and it doesn't really scare people that way. I used to have it posed that way in 2014 and it didn't really scare people that much when it was like that at all. Then there's the lurching werewolf, which, to be honest, he probably would scare people a little bit more because I think he lunges a lot quick. Like, he doesn't take as long to do his lunging like the zombie does. Yeah. But still, it wouldn't scare everyone. Like, some of these animatronics are not really for the jump scare. Some of them are just for the animation. But it's right in this case we're talking about jump scare. So this is why this one's higher up. For animation, these are really cool ones. But for a jump scare prop, they're not on the high um they're not on the high scaring prop list. This is the Lurching Witch from Seasonal Visions. This one's probably my least favorite of the four. I don't really care for the sayings. There's actually only one saying I kind of like from her. But I feel like these ones might scare a little bit more people than the werewolf and the zombie, just because they have a speech, and if you can hear them talk, you're gonna watch them and hear their dialogue on what they say, whereas the zombie and werewolf, they just make noises, so people think that that's all they're gonna do. It doesn't keep them waiting, whereas, like I said, these ones have dialogue that are trying to interact, and it seems like it's trying to interact with you, so it keeps people's attention on it.
Well, hello. You don't happen to have some candy for a sweet little old lady, do you? Give it to me! You're too quick for me, but I'll get it next time.
It's like I said,
Do you not feel
much more interactive, and it's going to keep people waiting a little bit. So these ones are better than the zombie and the werewolf because, like I said, these ones have a better chance of actually startling someone than the zombie and werewolf. Because, like I said, people usually just walk away before they do.
ugly witches? Perhaps you should, since one poisonous touch from me will wither your soul. Gotcha! You escaped my grasp. For now.
And now the Lurching Reaper, the Seasonal Visions Lurching Reaper. This is definitely the best one of the four because it's got an outstanding voice. I remember someone even said in the comment section of my Menards video that this has probably the best dialogue out of all the Spirit Halloween. Well, of that year. This was a 2015 prop. The best saying out of all the Spirit animatronics of the year.
Want to play a game of tag? If I catch you, you have to give up your soul. You're faster than you look. But don't worry, I'll get that soul one way or another. Do you think that you can sneak past the Reaper? I always know when your time has come. Gotcha! Lucky for you, it's not your time.
Like, he's got extremely unique sayings, though the witch is just a copy of him. But this one has a much cooler voice, and like I said, it's actually quite funny. It's like, when people are paying attention to this, they're gonna keep watching it because of what it says. And both me and Lucas have this animatronic, and oh my god, when you have this turned all the way up, it's loud as hell.
Yes. The living never think that their lives will come to an end. But all it takes is one touch from me. You have escaped my grasp. For now.
That's probably my favorite saying of him.
I have come to guide one of you into the afterlife. Come into my embrace and meet your fate. Don't worry. I will return for you soon enough.
Now, number 16 on the list is the Techie Toys High Voltage and First Aid Kit. Now, this is these are pretty startling props, and they're both one because, like I said, they're just like the four seasonal visions. They're both the same thing, just different, looks. But the problem with these is it's more of people's stupidity than the prop itself. I mean, they are faulty, the gears break easy, but that's not what I'm talking about. Literally, people don't know how to activate these. Literally, when these were in stores, I had to activate them for the customers because they didn't know how to do it. They just walked past it and never activated it at all. Like this box here, you have to flip the switch, and people actually don't notice that. And it literally says do not throw switch, so I think people literally think that it means don't throw the switch. So Spirit Halloween had to make special modification signs that say flip the switch if you dare. And half the time people still didn't know how to do it because people really don't know how to read. And this skeleton down here, the skull with the bone cross down here, people tried pressing that to activate it. Like literally. That's the problem with these. And they're not sound activated or anything like that. So if you have them out on a Halloween yard display and have your death row or convulsing nurse hooked up to this, most likely no one's going to know how to activate the prop. That's humanity with these kind of props. I'm sorry to say that, but I experienced the whole season and everyone did the same thing. Like literally almost no one knew how to activate this animatronic. Same with the first aid kit even. They didn't even see the button.
Warning. Warning.
Number 17 is Pop-Up Grave Zombie. Now, this one is one of the not so good ones, but at the same time, it's actually really cool. It hides in this ground. Well, basically, you can't see the prop at all, and you don't expect anything to happen whatsoever. You just see a tombstone, and you see a little bit of whatever it's supposed to be, but then all of a sudden, a zombie pops up from it, which could startle people if, they scare easily, but once again, it's a weak pop-up, and because this animatronic, they only used one screen. It has the same mechanism as the jumping spider, but instead of two screens, they only used one screen, and that is why it pops up so slow. But like I said, it's a really cool prop. It definitely surprises people, but I don't think it necessarily scares them. I mean, at least it pops up immediately, unlike a lot of the other pop-up props. This is like almost one of the only 2014 props I never had. Him and the pop-up toilet zombie. And I actually do want him. Number 19, actually, just a minute, I'm gonna switch the, oh, I'm sorry, this would, number 18. However, I'm gonna switch this with the pop-up grave zombies place because, again, her pop-up is pretty slow, and, I mean, she can startle people. I have seen people get startled by her, but nowhere near as much as, the top best ones that we talked about earlier. But I think she still startles people a lot better than Pop-Up Grave Zombie. It's just, once again, people think that all she does is rise up and then walk away from her before she pops up. At the store anyways. Maybe it's different when you use them at your yard display or whatever, but at the store, people just walk away before most of these scenes pop up. Which, yeah. But other than that, that's the only thing about her.
can barely even hear that motor. Alright, help the arm go down. Okay.
And
Only
again,
those two work. The subwoofer doesn't really work that well. Or at least I
why
don't think
isn't
it
this
does.
video pausing so well? And once again, another good thing about floating ghost girl is that she has another one of those. She's another prop that has one of those really good sensors that detect 8 feet away, and it is really good. Like at our spirit, we had her on sensor the whole season, and never once did it fail. It went off every time someone walked by. You didn't even have to walk in the actual hotel part. If you just walked beside the hotel, she still set off.
You cannot defeat me!
So like I said, I put her as number 16, and I put Pop-Up Grave Zombie as 17. God damn it, I'm sorry, I'm messing up. Pop-Up Grave Zombie is 18. She's 17. Number 19 on my list is the incinerator. You're probably thinking, wait, you said crowd chamber was number 11. Why would incinerator be like worse than crowd chamber? Because once again, it takes forever to pop up. It has another 5-6 second soundtrack before it pops up, which most people can't hear and end up walking away before it pops up. And even when it does pop up, it's not a fast pop up to really startle anyone. Not too many people. I get scared of few people, but like you said, those are the people that scare really easily. See, like I said, it takes way too long to pop up. Like the crowd chamber, it pops up almost immediately, and it makes the beeping noises, and people know that it's activated as soon as they press the button or whatever, because the lights start flashing. Whereas this one, you can barely hear the sound effects it's making, and it, like I said, it just takes way too long to get to the pop-up part. So, guys, are you ready for the worst one? It's actually going to be a combination of two, because they're both just as bad. Like, with looks, they're cool, but as far as their pop-up action, they are the worst, weakest ones I have ever seen and probably will ever see. Number 20 is the hay bale popper, the first one of number 20. Now, like I said, it looks cool, but the pop-up motion is like the slowest pop-up motion I have ever seen. The pumpkin is not that heavy. Honestly, it's more lightweighted than the crowd chamber and the incinerator, and it's way slower. And it's the same pop-up mechanism as pop-up zombie, and all three of these, incinerator, crowd chamber, and hay bale popper, they're all made by Crazy Create. I like the steady glow that it continues to glow when it's not activated, but still, the pop-up is way too slow. But at least it doesn't take too long to pop up. It pops up fairly, like, it's basically like the crowd chamber. It basically pops up at the same time as crowd chamber. It doesn't have a huge delay like the incinerator does. And that's probably one of the faster ones because most of the other ones I've seen are slower than that. Like, look at how slow that is. That's basically how most of them are. Most of them, that's as fast as most of them go. Like, the other ones you've seen were probably like the fastest that they can be. Most of the time, this is as fast as they pop up. So now you're probably thinking, wait, if this is the worst one, which it probably is, which one do you think is actually worse than this? Well, it's not much of a surprise, but the official worst pop-up prop is, ta-da, the pop-up toilet zombie. Literally, this is slower than the hay bale popper, only for one reason, because they only gave it one spreen when they could have gave it two spreens. And like I said, it's the same exact jumping mechanism as the jumping spider. I've looked into it, and they only gave it one spreen instead of two. Now, his head is actually styrofoam. So I have a feeling if they would have given it two spreens, the head would have eventually flew off. But still, with the toilet seat on top of the head, that also adds weight. It's pretty fast when you don't have it, but if they would have given it two spreens, I don't think the head would have actually flew off because the toilet seat still adds enough weight to the point where it would be good enough. It's kind of fast the first time you set it up because this is one prop that you definitely want to leave in the up position if you have it. Because if you leave this in the down position, it's not even going to pop up all the way. That's how bad it is. Like, it doesn't just get weak like a lot of the pop-up props do if you don't leave it in up position, but it literally stops popping up all the way if you don't. And it's way too expensive. Like, look at how bad that is. The pop-up grave zombie is better than this, and faster, and it's probably even more heavy-weighted than this is. So guys, that is all I have for you for this video. I hope you guys really enjoyed the video. I'm sorry for all the mistakes on the numbers I made, but I hope you enjoyed the video anyways. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below if you think my opinions are accurate or not. Anyways, that's it. See you later.